Welcome to week 6, question 4. Let's have a look at the question. It says, the Student Government Association is making Mother's Day gift baskets to sell at a fundraiser. If the Student Government Association makes a larger quantity of baskets, it can purchase materials in bulk. The total cost in hundreds of dollars of making X gift baskets can be approximated by, and then we're given a cost function. Part A of the question asks us to find the marginal cost function. And whenever we see marginal, remember we are looking at taking the derivative of, and here it's got the cost function, so we're going to be taking the derivative of the cost function. And then it says to find the marginal cost, or evaluate the marginal cost at x equals 15 and x equals 30. So the first thing we need to do here is look at the function and determine what kind of function we're looking at. So you can see that we have a set of terms in the numerator and a set of terms in the denominator, and therefore we're looking at a quotient. So we know that we have a derivative rule for a quotient function, so let's see how we're going to apply that. So the quotient rule, we write it down here, the derivative of some function with terms u in the numerator and terms v in the denominator is the denominator times the derivative of the numerator minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator all over the denominator squared. Okay? So my best advice is to identify what this derivative rule indicates is a u and what the derivative rule indicates is a v. So u is going to be that set of terms on the top. So u is equal to 5x plus 3. And the derivative of that is just 5. V, which is the denominator, is x plus 50. Right, found here. And the derivative of that is simply 1. Okay, so let's have a look at how this all comes together. So if we substitute the u prime, v, and v prime values that we found into this quotient rule, let's see what we've got. So v is x plus 50 times u prime, which is 5, minus u, which is 5x plus 3, times v prime, which is 1. And we're going to put all of that over the v squared. Okay, so x plus 50 and squaring all that. When we expand the brackets up top and we collect like terms to simplify, we are left with 247 over x plus 50 all squared. I'm leaving the denominator as x plus 50 squared because usually our next step is substituting values of x into the equations, and it's just as easy to do that when it's in the squared form or unsimplified form. Okay, let's go on to the next step. So I've written the marginal cost function here from page 1. And now to look at what else we are asked to do, it says find the marginal cost at x equals 15 and x equals 30. So you would substitute 15 into that marginal cost function, and you would result in a value of 0.0585, and cost function, marginal cost at 30 would be 0.0386. So you can see that the marginal cost, or the cost of producing one more basket, goes down when you are producing 30 versus when you're producing 15, and so on. Again, because they can purchase their materials in bulk, and the more they make, the less cost increase they're going to incur. Okay, so the next part of this question, B, says find the average cost function and the average cost. So remember in a prior question we had a cost function and we were able to do a couple of things with it from here. We were able to find the average cost function and we were able to find the marginal cost as well. And then we were able to take this average cost function, take the derivative of it, and find the marginal average cost. So that's sort of directionally the path that we would be taking. If you recall, the way to find an average function, in this case the average cost function, we're going to take the cost function and we're going to divide by x, and that will give us the average cost function. Okay, so we have c at x is equal to 5x plus 3 over x plus 50. And if we're going to be finding the average cost function, I'm going to divide all of that by x. Okay, so we're going to have to remind ourselves that in order to divide like this, then we would be multiplying by the inverse of x, which is 1 over x. Okay, so let's see how that looks. The average cost function is going to equal 5x plus 3 over x plus 50, and now all multiplied by 1 over x. Okay? And if we expand that, we're going to have an average cost function of 5x plus 3, because that's simply 1 times what's on the top, the numerator, and then in the denominator we're going to have x, and that's going to be multiplied by x plus 50, so you've got x times x is x squared plus 50x in the denominator. So that's going to be your average cost function. Okay? So the next step to completing part B would be evaluating at x equals 15 and x equals 30. So we're going to find the average cost at those levels. So we've got C average at 15 and C average at 30. And when we calculate the values, we're going to be getting 0.08 and 0.0638. Okay? So we're looking at 8 cents and just a little bit over 6 cents. So there we go. And now let's go on to the next question, finding the marginal average cost function. The first step to solving part C, where it says find the marginal average cost function, is, well, remembering we have to start from the average cost function. So let's recall what that was. So the average cost function was 5x plus 3 over x squared plus 50x. Okay. So now we're going to identify what type of function we have, and you can see that you've got some terms on the top and the terms on the bottom, so terms in the numerator and then in the denominator. So we're looking again at a quotient. So we need to look at the quotient rule, and again the best advice is to identify what's on the top, take the derivative of that, identify what's on the bottom, take the derivative of that, and be prepared to put them back into the quotient rule function. So let's try that. So u on the top is 5x plus 3. U prime, or the derivative of u, is 5. V, the denominator, is x squared plus 50x. And v prime then is going to be 2x plus 50. Okay? Make that look a little neater. Okay, so we're going to remember that our quotient rule is v times the derivative of u minus u times the derivative of v, and all of that over v squared. So let's put our specific values in now. We've got the average cost function. We're taking the derivative. So now we have the marginal average cost function we're finding. And again, so we need v, which is x squared plus 50x times the derivative of u, which is 5, minus u, which is 5x plus 3, times the derivative of v, which is 2x plus 50, and all of that is going to be over v squared, which is x squared plus 50x, and that's going to be all squared. Yeah? Okay. So what we need to do now, of course, is expand the brackets in the numerator, simplify the terms to get a simplified version of the marginal average cost function. So here you'd be multiplying 5 by each of those terms in the bracket, and here you would be expanding those brackets, collecting like terms, and when you've done all that, you're going to have the marginal average cost function looking like this, minus 5x squared plus 6x plus 150, and that's all going to be over x squared plus 50x, and all of that squared. The last part of C says now we're going to find the marginal average cost at x equals 15 and x equals 30. So now you're going to be using this marginal average cost at 15, marginal average cost at 30, and you're going to have values of negative 0.0014, and for 30, negative 0.0008. And so you can see that the effect of making more baskets again shows that you're going to be having a lower or less marginal average cost the more baskets you produce.